This video will show the process to update your older Genmega or Handle ATM to support TR-31 encryption. Specifically, this is for ATMs with an ACU3 or ACU5 mainboard. Please note that there is a detailed PDF instruction document for this process included in the TR-31 software downloads. This document includes common troubleshooting steps in case of a problem. This video is mainly to help familiarize you with this process, since there are some new steps. You can identify the ATM mainboard type by looking at the top edge of the board on the back of the LCD screen. In general, ACU3 boards will only have one USB port in the right side corner when viewing from the back. You can also check from the operator menu, next to the ATM model. For reference, ATMs with these mainboards will be at least 10 years old at this point. The first step in this process will be updating the ATM software. For the US standard version, the minimum version required to support TR-31 on the older mainboards is .45c. Before updating the software on the older mainboards, it's recommended that you first check for available memory. Enter the diagnostics menu. If you don't see that option, you'll need a higher level of password to access that menu. Depending on the software version currently on the ATM, you may see this memory value in the middle of the screen. Or you may see a button labeled Check Disk. Press that to see the available or free memory. Ideally, you should see a free memory amount of 10 megabytes or more. If the free memory amount is lower than 10 megabytes and you try and load the update software, there's a chance that the board can lock up during that process. If you need to free up memory, please read the TR-31 upgrade document included with the 45C software, the section titled Preparing the Mainboard for New Software. All ACU3 and ACU5 mainboards require SD memory cards to load software. The capacity of these SD cards must be 2 GB or less. To perform the TR-31 update, you'll need to have 2 of these SD cards ready. Or you'll need to have a laptop with you so that you can change the files during the update process. One SD card should contain the software update for the specific model of ATM. The contents of the card should look like this. This example is for a G2500. The other SD card is a firmware update, and the content should look like this. If you're using 2 SD cards, label them so you'll know which one is which. If you only have one SD card, you'll do the software update first, and then you can switch the files on the card for the firmware update. Once the mainboard memory has been checked, update the software by inserting the SD card into the socket on the back of the screen, power off, and then back on. The SD card is read as the ATM boots up. There is no indication on the screen that the software is loading. You just need to wait for the board to boot up and then check at the operator menu screen to verify the version. Enter the operator menu and check in the center to verify that the version has updated. If the version has not incremented as expected, please check the TR-31 update document included with the software for troubleshooting tips. You can now remove the software update SD card from the mainboard. Once the ATM software has been updated, the next step is to update the keypad firmware to support TR-31. The TR-31 function is only supported with keypad models B3 and B5. To check which model keypad is installed, you can look at the sticker on the back side of the keypad. Or you can look at the current firmware version in the Reports menu under Software Version. Here you can see EPP-ROM version. V05 means B5. V04 means B3. V03 means B1 or B2, which are not supported for TR-31. The process for updating the firmware is different based on each keypad. The firmware update is a one-time process for each keypad. Once it's loaded, you do not need to do it again, even if you reset the keypad. If you follow the procedures outlined in this video, your master keys will not be changed as part of this process. B3 firmware update. To update the firmware on the B3 keypad, start by powering off the ATM. Install a jumper on the keypad, across the two pins located in the middle of the two connectors. In most cases, there will be a black jumper across the two pins at the top of the keypad. You can temporarily move that jumper and place it across the pins in the middle. Just make sure to put it back when done. If you don't have a jumper, you can touch a piece of metal between the two pins to short them out. However, make sure before doing this that you're in a position where you don't have to move while the update process takes place. The pins need to be shorted out the whole time. Insert the SD card containing the firmware update files onto the mainboard. Now, power the ATM back on. It's going to boot up like normal. However, it should stop at the temporarily out of service screen for a while as it reads the files on the SD card. Be patient during this process. It should take approximately 5 to 6 minutes. You will not see any notification on the screen during that time. If for some reason the update doesn't work, wait a good 10 minutes before powering off and trying again. When the firmware update is complete, you'll see the following screen. Now, just follow these 3 steps. Remove the SD card from the mainboard. Remove the jumper from the keypad. Reboot the ATM, and it should now boot up as normal. When you enter the operator function menu, you should now see a notice in the upper left corner, TR-31 supported. This means that your terminal is ready to support TR-31 encryption. No other steps are needed at the ATM. B5 firmware update. Once the ATM is updated with 45C software, power off. Insert the SD card containing the firmware update software and power on. The ATM may take longer than normal to boot. It should stop at the temporarily out of service screen while files are being loaded. When the ATM finishes booting, enter the operator function menu. Now go to System Setup, then Device Setup, then choose EPP Setup. You should see a button that says EPP Firmware Download. Press that button and you'll be prompted to enter your secure mode or key management passwords. These are the 8-digit passwords used to enter master keys. If you don't know these passwords, you'll need to reset the keypad and enter a new set of master keys. Press Execute Firmware Download. When this process is complete, you'll see this screen showing the new version has been installed, v05.08.00. You can now remove the SD card and reboot the ATM one more time. When you enter the operator function menu, you should now see a notice in the upper left corner, TR-31 supported. This means your terminal is ready to support TR-31 encryption. No other steps are needed at the ATM. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, please contact Genmega support.